Hey everyone, it's Marissa here, and I just want to say that I was so excited to have today's guest on. So, some of you may or may not know that I'm breaking into the motivational speaking space as I am a mindset coach, especially for teachers. And I love, love, love talking about mindset, right? Coached my own mindset for a good 12 years to get to the point I'm at now. So I had this incredible talk to give at Parklands College, which is a school in Cape Town, Parklands, South Africa. It's a super high-tech school, beautiful, beautiful campus. Yeah, just Apple Distinguished School, amazing. And they invited me to come and talk to their teachers at the beginning of the year. And when I spoke there, I mentioned my podcast. And that is when the associate principal, Emma, she came up to me with the head of culture and the drama teacher, Roché. And she was like, "You have got to have Roché on your show." And she, of course, was absolutely right. And I was like, let's do it. I loved speaking to Roché because you may or may not know I'm always looking for positive people in the education space to talk to because I just know how difficult it is having been a teacher for 22 years. I've only recently come out of teaching to focus on really helping teachers. And I'm always on the lookout for people who can help motivate and inspire teachers to kind of keep going and not give up because there's a lot of teachers out there who are really struggling. And Roché has the most fiercest energy. I love it so much. She is not only extremely passionate about drama and being the head of culture at Parklands, she's actually been teaching since 1998 and has this gift for helping students build, confidence and communication skills. And if you don't know, right, those are two of the 21st century skills, the ones that we really need our kids to have if they are going to be what people like the term, I don't know, like jobbable, basically. Um, and I loved listening to Roché's story, which you are going to love it as well. Especially if you're a teacher who's looking to help your kids build their communication skills, their confidence levels. But I was so impressed with her because she also pushed through some of her own fears around technology. And now she not only uses tech to enhance her teaching, but she teaches her fellow teachers about using tech. And I love that because we shouldn't be scared to take the initiative to learn more if we don't think we can do something. Anything, if we put our mind to it and we try, just put a little bit of effort out there. I know it's tough sometimes. We don't always want to embrace change. But the fact is, we all should have that growth mindset, right? That mindset that says, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. And if I work hard enough at it, I'm going to get better and better. And that is ultimately the truth. So anyways, in this episode, we are talking about power of communication, the role of drama and student development, and the sometimes scary but totally worth it journey of bringing tech into education if you're not there already, or if you do have a school where there's a lot of tech, but you're a little bit scared to maybe embrace different things you can do with tech, then you will also enjoy this episode. So if you're a teacher, maybe a parent, or just someone who believes in the magic of learning, like I definitely do, then this conversation is packed with insights you will not want to miss. So let's dive in. All right. Hey, listeners and viewers, if you're on YouTube with us, today joining us in this episode is Roché Buckle, who is a drama teacher and head of culture at Parklands College in South Africa, which if you haven't been there, it is a phenomenal school, really beautiful. Definitely must check out. She is also a Google Innovator and trainer. So Roché is so passionate about building confidence, creativity, and communication skills in students, which of course are 21st century skills. And if you are an educator looking to bring more life, innovation, and practical tools into your classroom around these topics, whether it's through drama or technology, then this is the interview for you. Roché, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, lovely to be here.
So I want to start first by asking you, what inspired you to become a drama teacher, and how has your teaching philosophy sort of evolved since you started in 1998?
Yes, well, I was lucky enough to be at a drama college where we could either follow the performing stream or the teaching stream. And so I decided to do both. And it was lovely for me because I had the most inspiring mentor in RA Tobias. And about after 6 months in my first year, she said to me, I want you to come and try and do some teaching with me. Just come and sit with me in the classes and see what it's about. And I did that and I fell in love with it. And I think I fell in love with her way of teaching because she was just so inspiring, the most incredible woman. She'd go from teaching a pre-primary class where we were all crawling around on the floor like cats or marching in our Wellingtons and being the rain, to half an hour later quoting Shakespeare with the grade sevens. And it was inspirational, and I loved it. And I loved being in her space. And I still find myself reacting to some of the presentations that my children do in the same way that she does. And I think, oh, all right, she's with me here, or using some of her quotes or some of her phrases. And she always said to me, Roché, anything that you do, any place you visit, any event that happens, you can turn that into a scene. And that has stayed with me forever. Everything I do. On Sunday, I went on a hike with a friend and we came across a whole troop of baboons, actually a whole troop of baboons. And it was quite scary. And I said, I can turn this into a scene. Yeah. And so everything that I do. And so it's been incredible for me to teach at a number of different schools, from pre-primary to schools where I was using drama as a tool to teach English, to now I teach from 3 years old to grade 6. So I cover the spectrum of ages. And I've seen in myself how I have grown as a teacher, because in 1998, it was very much about, this is the way it has to be, and this is how we're going to present it, and that's that. Whereas now I realize actually that different children learn in different ways, and that there are different ways of getting to the final result. And so now that the children can be far more experimental with what they do. I allow them to try out things in a safe space without the fear of getting it wrong or not doing it right. For me, I say to them, it's your interpretation. It's okay. As long as you can tell me why you're doing something, that's absolutely fine. And I feel that they learn so much more from that because there's no fear. They just do it. And that helps to build their presentation skills, it helps to build their confidence, and knowing that they can be and experiment in a safe space.
I think that's so critical these days as well, because not every school does drama, but what you're saying proves that point, that when kids can get pushed through that fear in a safe space, it allows them that opportunity to speak their mind, to speak up, to ask questions, which so many kids today are very fearful of. And it's just, I think it just goes to show that why drama is so critical in today's society, right? It's always been fun, but now it's actually critical. And I'm curious.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, everybody needs to speak and everybody needs to express themselves.
That's it. 100%. Communication skills. It's becoming more and more relevant, all the time. So what you're doing with the kids is just phenomenal, building their confidence for the future. So I'm really curious, because there are so many kids out there who lack confidence. What advice would you give to maybe a teacher or a parent who wants to help their child or their student build confidence, but they're lacking that particular skill within themselves?
Well, you build confidence gradually, bit by bit. So in my group situations, I teach a lot of group drama classes where either they have elected to be part of a drama society or they're just part of the drama class. And if I have somebody who is particularly shy and I want them to do some role play or do a presentation, the very first lesson I say to them, let me do it with you. I'm going to act with you, and then you'll see that it's not so scary. So I do it with them first. And then the next week, I might say to them, okay, try and say these lines. You can now do it on your own and do it in your way, but I'll still be here with you. And so they can see that little bit by little bit, they can get better at it and it's not so scary. And we build the confidence in that way. Also, being part of a group is sometimes much easier than a one-on-one situation. And I like to mix them up and put confident children with not so confident children, so we can just show that we can all work together. And the more you do it, the better it becomes. But it needs to be a gradual thing. And my first lessons are always big group lessons that we all do together, that I do it with them too. So we're all cats on the ground, or we're all climbing the mountain, or whatever it is, so that nobody stands out. Everybody's part of the group. And then with public speaking or doing oral presentations, that's a little bit different. But I find that if you engage the children in conversation first, then that helps to build the confidence. So active conversation, active listening is very important to help build that conversation. And I also find by the children writing their own speeches, you then have them writing it in the manner in which they speak. So it's their own phrasing, which then helps them to remember what they want to say. So by having active conversations, you build the trust of the learner that you're speaking with. And then you might use the information that you gain from that learner to help them speak to somebody else. So, for example, I might say to a child, Emma, last week you told me about your favorite book that you were reading and the characters. Why don't you tell Mrs. Price about that as well? I'm sure she'll be interested in it. Mm-hmm. And then it's something that that child is passionate about and can speak about easily, and doesn't have to think about it because it's something that they know. So I think working on those passions and speaking from a passion first helps to build the confidence as well. And then you can start giving them other topics. Also, in our school, we use technology. And so by recording your speech or recording your oral, the learner can then look back at it and see how they might want to change their phrasing, or if they want to use a pause differently or change their tone. And that helps to build the confidence also, because then they can hear how the audience will perceive what it is they're saying, and how they will understand it, which will also help to build the confidence.
That is great. I love that idea of, especially for parents who maybe aren't going to always be necessarily in a big group, but for having that, oh, well, you were telling me about this. Why don't you tell, Uncle Fred about this? Or why don't you tell Granny about this? Or, why don't you actually encouraging them to speak about a topic that they are more familiar with, to build that confidence with speaking. I think that's great. And I think also I like that you said you have to do it with them, because teachers as well, sometimes teachers have to push through that fear of acting silly with the kids. And I think if the kids can see you pushing through it, then it does make them feel a little bit better. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And also I share a lot of my own experiences with the children that I teach, and they love it because they gain just a little bit of insight into my life, and it puts me sort of more on a real level with them. And one of the children who moved on to the high school last year, she wrote me a note and she said, I will never forget your stories, because I remember listening to them and learning so much from them. And that's, that means a lot. Along with the one that said, thank you for teaching me to be brave with my voice, because that means a lot to me, that they know that they can use their voice appropriately.
Yeah, that's so, I love that. So sweet. So just continuing on with building of the, communication skills, because there is a lot of discussion right now about students and communication, because they communicate through their devices, often not verbally. Have you noticed a bit of a shift in the course of your teaching career? And on top of that, what are some maybe practical exercises that teachers could use to help build the communication skills within their students?
It's been an interesting journey for me, and I've found that there are groups of children who are definitely more insecure than others. And also we're finding that more and more children are not strong when they use their mouth. So their articulation muscles are not strong. So they forget that they need to use their lips and their jaw and their tongue when they speak. And there is no strength. And particularly, I find children that were maybe in their grade R or grade 1 and 2 years during a lockdown period, when they weren't really speaking to people so often, they need far more encouragement. And so I, particularly with my young learners, I do a lot of tongue and mouth exercises with them, just to gain strength where they need to in their articulation muscles, in their jaw, their lips, their tongue, just to the placement of the words, which also then helps them when they're learning their phonics and helps them to recognize where the sound comes from. So I do things like the difference between a and a b. They're both made with two lips. They're both air, but the one is vocalized. The b is loud, whereas the p is soft. And so they learn that sort of thing from me. And if it is reiterated each week, then that will help them with the phonics too. It will help them with their spelling. So basic tongue exercises I do with the children is we let our tongues run up and down the stairs. So I'm going to show you to be visual now. So it's all right for the people watching.
Okay.
They see.
Explain it.
We might go up and down like this, and we might make circles with our tongue, running around your teeth. Sort of that to strengthen the tongue. We might strengthen the lips by
the muscles because
doing
that
that
and moving around. Okay,
that's right. And in and out, and our fish faces, which then exercise our jaw, and of course that repetitive clicking sound. This one, helps with the guttural sounds because the soft palate needs to be exercised as well. So all of those exercises, if you do them, even if you do them daily, I mean, the teachers could start their morning with those tongue exercises because it's like brain gym. It focuses the class as well, and it helps their articulation muscles, and you can then reiterate your sound for the week as well. So, for example, if you're doing sh, you might be doing s, sh, s, sh. So that exercises your muscles. It's reiterating the sound that you're doing for phonics, and you start your day with a focus. Of course, when the teachers do it, it's also very good for your double chin. Marilyn Monroe did jaw exercises every day, so it's beneficial to everybody.
That is win-win all the way. Every teacher's going to be like, come in, I'm doing it.
But also sometimes communication skills come from a lack of confidence, bad communication skills, and you just need to then build the confidence too. But also anxiety plays a huge role in not communicating clearly. And there I feel that there are more teachers, and I know that you are going to think like this too because of your mindset focus, in that if the teachers and the pupils learn to just breathe, then that will help them too. So I start teaching diaphragmatic breathing from as young as grade 4s, so sort of 9, 10 years old. I let them know, of course, I don't go into all the details, but I let them know that if you breathe right down from the bottom of your lungs, imagining that your lungs are like balloons filling up with air, then that helps to, number one, calm you down. And I say to the grade 6s, if you are feeling nervous about a test, just sit and breathe deeply, fill from the bottom of your lungs, and that will calm you down. It'll center your core, and it'll just make you feel less anxious. And I feel that is an important skill that we can learn in drama, that we can use for the rest of our life, to just calm down, just relax. And I say to them, at night before you go to sleep, you are maybe so tense about something, your jaw is feeling tense, your shoulders are tense. I say, just say to yourself, relax your face, relax your shoulders, and then breathe. It'll help you to fall asleep quicker, to lessen the anxiety, and then you can carry on that way. So I find that breathing too is very, very important for strong communication.
I can't believe how I learned that breath work shifts your whole focus on anxiety, because it literally changed everything for me when in my later years of teaching, because I feel that I honestly feel it is a teacher's superpower, is learning how to breathe for themselves through any anxiety, which, let's face it, as teachers happens all the time. And then to teach the students how to do it and to make it part of a routine, like create a system around it where every day after break, when we come in, we do 5 minutes of breathing, or we do a couple of minutes, right? There are many different ways to incorporate it, but it really does make such a massive difference. So I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think you're helping so many students by incorporating that. And I hope teachers are listening too, that it's not just for the students, it's for them as well.
Absolutely. And you can even just starting your day off with breathing, just gets the class focused, centered, ready to go.
Yeah, no, I love that. So I'm really curious, Roché, about the fact that you're a Google educator and trainer. That's so exciting. So what would be maybe 2 things that you might tell new teachers who are coming in are maybe not as experienced with the Google education system, like what would you tell them would be maybe the first couple of things to learn? Some of the game changers when it comes to teaching.
Well, when you go through the Google Innovator training program, you learn design thinking. And so two of the biggest design thinking elements that I always remember is, number one, error recovery over failure avoidance. So don't be scared to make a mistake. Rather, if you've made the mistake, go back and get better at it. But don't be afraid of trying just because you might make a mistake. So error recovery over failure avoidance. And number two, accept every offer. Listen to everybody's ideas. And then you can take what you want from those ideas and adapt it to what you need it to be. So those are the two biggest takeaways for me that we need to remember. There's also communicate zealously, but I think those two are very, very important. Don't be afraid. Just do it. You know, when I started at the school, I received my iPad and I said, no, I don't need that. I don't need an iPad. We just act in my class. And now I do some of the Google training because that's how important it is and how it changed my way of teaching too, because I use that tool for my benefit and for the learner's benefit. And I think you just need to accept that offer and think, right, what can I do with it? How can I make it work for me? So that's very important. And then, of course, you know, when you're working with Google Workspace tools, just don't be scared to try out things, because there is that wonderful thing called version history. And if you've made a mistake, you just go back and you sort it out. So don't be scared to try out things. Don't be scared to use technology. You'll be surprised at how effective it can be in your class, whether it is that you use Google Docs as a collaborative document that everybody can add their information to, whether you use it as a mind map session. It's just, don't be scared of it. See how you can use it to enhance your teaching and also to enhance the understanding of the learners and what you're trying to do with them. We often record pieces in my class because, again, like I said, listening to what we're doing, listening to our tone, listening to our inflection, seeing how we can improve it. So that's how I use it very effectively in my lessons.
I also just want to touch on the first part you were saying, because that is 100% the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Like anything can be learned with hard work and perseverance. And just because you can't do it right away doesn't mean you can't do it yet. It's as soon as you put that, I can't do it yet. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it out, right? Maybe I could ask someone about this. The fixed mindset will be, no, this is not for me. I can't do it. I'm not technical. Like my mom says that, I'm just not technical, right? And the growth mindset is like, no, I'm going to do a little bit every day. I'm going to get better. I can do this. I just haven't learned everything yet. Maybe I can go to Roché or someone else to see if they can give me their best tip. And I'm going to keep working at it. And that mindset, that growth mindset, it's so important. And I think it's important for kids to see that too. You using that wording as well. Oh, I can't do this yet, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to learn instead of just I'm giving up.
Well, I often say to my children, can we do this? I say, well, yes, let's try it. I'll try it with you. And I feel that I learn something from one of the children I teach every single day. And I think that's important to me. And I love doing that. Love it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love that about teaching as well. So I'm curious, Roché, because you've been a teacher for a while, like I was a teacher for a while. And so if you met the first year teacher version of you, what advice would you give yourself?
I've learned to be a lot braver in my thoughts and my approach to my goals and my ambitions and what I can actually achieve in the class and and the goals that I can set for the learners that I teach to. So I tell her to just be brave. Just be brave. Try out things. No idea is inconsequential. Every idea is valid. You can build on that. And also, I just remind her to actively listen to everybody and to communicate zealously. And I think that's one of the biggest things I learned from being a Google Innovator is just listen, but actively listen to remember, listen to use and think, and don't just hear.
Yeah, listen to learn, listen to connect with someone. I think it is an art these days, the art of listening, because so many people are very consumed with their own thoughts that they find it more difficult to listen to what the other person is saying. But if you can really work on that, it can make you a very popular. I hesitate to use the word popular, but a lot of people will want to spend time with you because they feel heard because you listen.
Yes, absolutely. And listen to understand as well, and listen maybe to contribute as well.
Yes.
Listen to support.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. That's so true. It's great advice for your first year self. And for any of the first year teachers today that are listening to this, definitely great advice. So for some final thoughts today, because we're all about mindset here, how do you maintain a positive mindset? And this can be in or out of the classroom. Like, what do you do or say to yourself when challenges come your way and that like negative self-talk starts to push in?
Well, I go for long walks, and I speak to myself when I'm on those walks, but I also sing very loudly to Queen. It's essential in my life.
Any particular song?
It just depends. It just depends on the mood, but I can do all the voices in Bohemian Rhapsody, as I think everybody else can too.
I'm a singing girl all the way. I had all the albums growing up, so I feel that like major.
So, and there's lots of lovely ones, especially from that Night at the Opera first album is stunning. Anyway, but the walks do help me, and I mull over the challenges and so on. But I try to remind myself to just have perspective, because sometimes my imagination can go wild, and so I have to say no, focus and just think of perspective. And also, I've learned as I've grown older to see everybody's point of view and everybody's side, but I don't always see that immediately. So I have to go for the walk to be able to see that and understand. And then I just sort of center myself. So I find that walking really does help me. But, just to see the bigger picture, and most importantly, to remind myself of what I do and why I do it. And for me, it's just to bring joy to one person every day. If I laugh out loudly in my classes every day, and I love that, because the children, I laugh at each other and with each other, and that brings me great joy. And I just think to be positive in every situation. I am a very positive person, and I try and bring that positive energy to everybody else. So if there's one child that goes home daily and is excited about what we did in class and tells their parents about it, then that has made me very happy. And I just basically try to be Pollyanna, Mary Poppins, and Maria von Trapp all rolled into one.
That is quite a person there with those three. That's brilliant. And I really love, I think I want to just touch on where you said to bring joy to at least one person, because I think sometimes as teachers, we feel this pressure that if we didn't bring joy to every single student, then we have failed in some way. And that is so far from the truth. Like, you are never going to get through to every student, but if you just got through to one student, you brought joy to one person that day, that is a massive win, and you can celebrate that when you get home, because that person is going to go home and remember that, and that student is going to grow up remembering that. So I want teachers to really hear that it's okay to not get through to everybody. Just go in and just try to bring joy to one person. And if you bring joy to 10, even better, but you only really need one, So
Absolutely.
No,
and that will bring joy to you too.
Yes.
And to just make your day.
Exactly. No, 100%, 100%. Roché, finishing off, we always finish with the gratitude practice here, because I'm all about, shifting the energies and the quickest way to do that is through gratitude. So what 3 things are you grateful for today?
Well, I am grateful to work in an environment where I get to express myself every day, and wear sparkles. They do call me Mrs. Sparkle. And I'm grateful that the people I work with accept me for, who I am. Even when I have the craziest ideas, which is most days, they've learned to just go with the flow and know that it'll work out in the end. It'll get there. And I'm very grateful for that, actually, that I have that support. And I'm grateful that I've learned to be brave, because I think that's very important.
Yes, I think that is a highly important skill. And a lot of people, we say fear. My favorite acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real, because
Mm,
we're often trapped in our fear, and we have to be brave sometimes to push through the fear, because that's where like the highest version of us is, the version of us that is going to make this, even more of a difference to the students, but also to ourselves. So I think that's definitely, be brave. Everyone can be brave. You can do it.
yes,
um,
you can do it. You can do it.
yeah. I just want to say, Roché, I'm just so grateful for you for coming on the show today. And we're definitely going to put all your, your Instagram and everything in the show notes. And thank you so much for just helping the teachers at Parklands and just teachers in the past that you've worked with expand, their tech knowledge, and also just the children, helping them build confidence and speaking, which are so important as skills these days. And I wish you only the most success and prosperity as you move forward with all your endeavors this year, especially your play this year, which is called, again, is it Madagascar, Young Madagascar? Tell me the name.
Yep, Madagascar Junior.
Madagascar Junior. Congratulations with that. Do you have any dates yet on when that's happening?
Oh, yes. Well, I can punt it. It's going to be on stage 31st July and 1st and 2nd of August here at Parklands College. The preparatory faculty are doing it. So it's going to be fantastic. And we've got some of our little grade R's will be involved, right up to our grade sixes. And it's going to be magnificent. So much color on stage, so many children on stage, fantastic singing, dancing, acting. It's going to be wonderful.
Oh, it sounds amazing. All right, awesome. End of July, beginning of August. Perfect. If you don't have anything to do, definitely check out the play at Parklands Prep. Thank you again so much, Roché. And I just wish you the most beautiful, beautiful week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.